And we have beautiful, last but not least, right? Beautiful final presentation by Ferial and Andy, and it's going to be about how to absolutely, I love that, that's a Ferial language, right? How to absolutely love your life, right? Using the SRG Journey Practice and Technology. So let's enjoy it. Ferial, Andy, please share it with us.
I will start to share my screen. And of course, Andy's going to be our main facilitator for this session. I will pitch in with him, but Andy, please take center stage.
At the stage. I'm actually standing up. I have been for the last couple of hours because this sitting down work for since 10:30 this morning. Wow. So if you've managed to sit in your bum for that length of time, congratulations, you know. Maybe give yourself a stretch. I don't know. You've only got a little bit to go. So, you know. But and we're blaming Ferial. We're blaming Ferial for the title because I didn't say how to live an apps, whatever it is, how to absolutely love your life. But we are going to talk about that. Nate, one of the things that really I was listening to you and I was thinking, this is going to sound really selfish, you know, how to love your life when you've been talking for the last half an hour about you know, empowering other people. But I think let me just start the way that I had planned, and then I'm going to address that. And I'm also going to address something that Darren came up with earlier on as well. But for those that don't know me yet, this may be the first time you've heard me speak. I came across a saying a while back: "Life is either a daring adventure or it's nothing." By Helen Keller. If you don't know who Helen Keller is, she was an amazing teacher who was both blind and deaf, and she became a teacher, and she was renowned for being this incredible, caring, supportive, wonderful role model for people to see past their limitations and embrace the opportunities, limited though they may be or appear to be. And I've tried to incorporate that into my life, sometimes very successfully and sometimes falling flat in my face. And earlier on, I was speaking about the fact I was born in 1961. In the 60s, it was a really strange time where, on the one hand, everybody thought the world was about to end. And then we had hippies saying, all you need is love. And it was a remarkable time of creativity and expressions of identity and this idea that all of these ideas, in some ways, it was almost like a mini enlightenment in some ways, right? So what did I take away from it? Well, one of the things I took away from it is that humans are remarkable, that when you actually get together, regardless of what the reason is, but you can focus on something that you all agree on to go towards, i.e., putting somebody on the moon, it's amazing what you can achieve. And maybe I didn't take the right lessons from that to begin with, but like a lot of people that started to come into the world in the late 60s and 70s, I thought that life could be linear. That, you know, and I had people in my past, parents and things, who'd left school, got a job, had a career path, and were headed to retirement. So that linear process seemed to be something that made sense. And I loved science and technology, and I thought I could be part of that. And then very quickly, I was disavowed of that thing because I discovered that I actually got distracted very easily. I couldn't even get to the end of a sentence. My brain was going somewhere else. And the little picture of the guy in the classroom here is me. Yeah, that's me getting utterly confused. And another thing about that age that I discovered is if you're small like I am and you stand up to bullies, you get the living crap kicked out of you, right? So I developed skills to ingratiate myself or influence people who are physically bigger and more capable of power, to use your expression, Nate. You know, people who had more power because of their physicality, or people who had more power because they were in positions of authority. And I developed skills that were to entertain people, to distract people. I recognized I could think quickly. So what did dyslexia teach me? Well, I've got a lesson I only learned about 2 weeks ago about dyslexia, thanks to someone that was on one of our SRG courses a couple of years ago, a lady called Lucille. She was explaining some about dyslexia to me, and I'm going to come back to that in a minute. But I want to address the picture on the left-hand side of that slide. That is me dressed up in the craziest ski outfit you've ever seen on a stage, doing what I used to do about 18 years ago, which is take that show anywhere and everywhere it would go. And in particular, I took it into a school where the children were, I don't know if the word's universal, but truant. They would often not turn up to school because school was doing nothing for them. And so you can imagine there's nothing worse than a 48 or 49-year-old guy standing in front of them, dressed like an idiot, dancing to Janet Jackson. And the message was, don't be embarrassed. Because if you're embarrassed, you're allowing other people to define who you are, right? And so this program that we are offering, which is based on our SRG, what we call our SRG technology, and you can watch the previous video to try and understand what that is all about trying to move yourself. Ferial and I often talk about this idea of a journey, moving from where you are to where you want to be, where you want to get to, as I just want to express myself naturally. I want to express myself who I am without fear of embarrassment. Because Dan, you were talking earlier about, people in positions of power don't want to express who they are, scared to express it. We had someone else, I've forgotten her name, but was talking about the 4 spaces. These things keep coming back and back and back and back. We are petrified to express who we are because actually we're not appreciated, we're not valued, we're not respected, and we're not rewarded for who we are. And our argument is that once you actually understand who you are, then you can start to look out and find communities of people that really appreciate you, who will really see your value and who will actually want to work with you to do something really remarkable. So that's why we think the SRG Journeys is a fantastic foundation for everything that we do here in Living Cities Earth. Because once you confidently can express yourself without worrying about other people judging you, then you start to naturally show what you're about. And that's what this program is. And from here, I'd like to invite Ferial to just move on from that foundation.
So now I'm going to share you with a little bit about me. Now, I have shared quite a few times in different sessions who I am, so it's up here. You can read about it. I'm going to focus on one little aspect of myself, which is actually that I'm a keen dancer of the Latin dances. So, Andy, thank you for being willing to be silly and, do what you do on the stage, because dancing was really such an incredible metaphor for me of life and of the SRG journey, and how to really absolutely love your life, even in a world where, or I guess we grow up reading stories about happily ever after. I want to ask, is there a happily ever after? Have any of you ever had a happily ever after? I can say I have not. The reason I sit right at the bottom over here is I absolutely love my life, but it has not been perfect. And I don't think, any of your stories, many of you I know, it's not been, the golden thread has not been perfection. It's been experience. It's been journey. It's been adventure. So what has happened for me in the dance is the realization that, so here's the thing, people used to sit there and even just the past weekend, after a good long time, I went to a dance event in Edinburgh. It was a big summit, and people were coming up to me, and I hadn't danced for quite a while, so I was totally unfit, and I was panting. Right, I was laughing half the way through, but people were still coming up to me and looking and said, "Oh my God, we just love how you move." And it is because the thing for me was that I would close my eyes and I would dance with my soul, bottom line. And I think in this life, to truly love that life, to truly love every aspect of what you do, you need to close your eyes, lean into life, and love every part of it. The good, the bad, and the ugly. They're all part of an entirely beautiful, wonderful experience. And the moment you can truly embrace that, and dance really taught me that. It taught me, because look, at the beginning, I had to learn the steps, right? So I had to learn 1, 2, 3, move 2, 3, 4, this kind of stuff. And in life, we do have to do the linear work. We do have to go to, learn certain courses, kind of increase our abilities in certain things, right? That's the linear work. But then that's not enough, because that linear work will only take you so far. When I began to truly dance was when I knew the steps and I said, right, now I'm going to feel my way. Most times I would close my eyes because dance is about feeling your partner. You would notice what Adrian is doing there. He's totally directing me the whole time. It's tiny little things that he does with the hands, and I kind of get to follow, but it's a feeling into. So that sense making into life, that feeling into that, what is it wanting? Where is that? Where's the next leveraging point? That pushing, that pulling, that, and then even when, so you become so good at this that even when now as a dancer, even when the move isn't right, for example, it's not following the steps that I'm used to, I am so capable now that I make every move actually look like a good move. In other words, that is what we can do in life. Even when life is not going our way, in fact, very often it's not following our plans we have in our minds, right? However, every move becomes a beautiful move because you understand with everything that has happened in your life, there is a building upon, a something you can take away from it, a learning, a something. And today, this is really what our SRG journey is about. This, how do I absolutely love my life? It's not about the fact that it's perfect or there's a formula or there's a specific thing, but it's that leaning into, that sensing into, that we really share through that experience. So with that said, I'm going to pass back to Andy and having taken.
Could you tell me what SRG stands for?
We'll get there. Just 2 seconds, Darren. We'll
Okay,
get there,
okay.
I promise you. Yeah, we'll get there. I just want to busk off something that Ferial said. We've got the slide, but this is what we tend to do in SRG and SRG journeys. We tend to sort of have this plan, and then we kind of deviate a little bit from. So the thing I just want to throw in here is a little aside is there's a guy called Miles Davis. I'm sure most of you have heard of him. And a guy called Herbie Hancock. And Herbie Hancock is just a stunningly brilliant, gifted, amazing classical and jazz pianist. And when he was playing with Miles Davis back in the 60s, Herbie Hancock played a wrong note and he got upset about it. And when Miles Davis, when he came off stage, Miles Davis said, "What happened, man?" He said, you went all strange on me." He said, "Oh, I played a wrong note." And Miles said to Herbie, "There are no wrong notes. You have to trust your partners. If you play a different note than the one you expected, if your fingers don't land where they should have, and a note comes out that we weren't planning for, we'll just take that and we'll do something with it. We'll create magic from it." And so I think as we go through the Emergathon and we're ending this, one of the things that we're trying to get over here is there are no wrong notes. Yeah, if this is a group of people who can improvise, who can change, who can pick up, who can change whatever goes on, because we don't know what's going to happen next in the world. None of us know what's going to happen next in the world. So what we're living an absolutely wonderful life is actually developing the confidence in yourself to do your best and trust your partners. And guess what? They're not going to. And Ferial and I have been at this for 6 years, and we're still dropping the ball all the time. I know I've kind of flummoxed her now because I'm not talking about the slide. You see, I can see it on her face. Ferguson, would you just stick to the plan, right? And I'm going, yeah, well, let's just busk a bit. But we'll come back to the plan.
Before you do the plan, I often I said this whole Emergathon, amazingly, things that Gail taught me and told me, it keeps coming up. And Gail, just before she passed on, she sent me an email. I still have this last email from her. She was like, "Ferial, I need to tell you this." Like, I was using this analogy of describing LCE as what is they're called? Anyway, a group of people, like an orchestra. Sorry, that was the word, the orchestra. And there was conductors and it was all this kind of stuff. And she said, "Ferial, no, I love the jazz band." This was her last email to me. She said, "Ferial, I think we need to be a jazz band. We need to be riffing off each other, taking that note like we're doing in this Emergathon." And we're going, "Oh yeah, but imagine life like that you're riffing off your experiences, everything." So the thing is, you don't start going, "Oh, this is so bad." There are days Andy will come to me and say, "Andy, how are you going to riff there?" And that's how the two of us, that's why this is not an individual sport. This is a team sport, life. Because what happens is we get to help each other to SRG. So in other words, Daryl, this is stop, reset, go. It's a technology that was designed by James Gian Wong. I'm not going to go into it too much, but we've already done a session specifically just on the technology. So if you can go and listen to that session, you'll understand more about the technology. This is how we apply the technology in a particular context. And in this context, it is how to absolutely love your life for anyone, right? So Andy, please take it away. Riffle.
Okay, so the SRG journeys, so it's a different, so we've said before, it's a different sort of technology, but it's a human technology. It's what we've learned to do. We've learned to play jazz, man, but we do it with life, right? We call this technology a technology of practice. In other words, the more you practice yourself, the more you practice together, the better you get at it. It's used to understand ourselves and others and the world more deeply and profoundly, so that we can act with more awareness, appreciation, and care. That's basically what an SRG journey is. We're learning from our mistakes and our successes. And the keys to enjoying this journey are: don't wait to get started, embrace everything that happens as a lesson, and find people you can trust to offer you their perspectives and criticism. I love criticism because it gives me a perspective that I don't have when I'm sitting there thinking, wow, I'm amazing, right? So that's it. So next slide, Ferial. Yeah.
And actually, so Andy and I mean, I don't call it criticism, I call it feedback. And so what happens is that every course we design, everything, we make sure that there is major feedback loops, because this allows you to evolve. Otherwise, you don't know what others are saying or thinking or how they're engaging with you. And it doesn't have to be that you're doing anything wrong. It's a negotiation process. Did you think about this before? That everything is, all you're doing is negotiating with the aspects of what is happening for another human and what is happening in their world and what is happening in their world. So there's not anybody that's wrong and right. We're negotiating. So Andy and I like to talk about, we're all in the business of business. We're all changing matter, energy, and information into something useful that we can barter with another human being. And in actual fact, it's not even human beings that are only engaging in this, and it's every organism on the planet. So we have a little bit of a reaction to business, but in actual fact, it is what we are involved in everyday exchanges of value. And how do we come into that just value exchange with one another? Thank you, Andy.
So next thing we've got up here is SRG Journey, a comprehensive personal development program designed for individuals seeking profound growth and fulfillment in their personal and professional lives. Listen, if that isn't us, I don't know who it is, right? I think everybody that would be joining Love and Cities Earth is actually seeking profound growth, fulfillment in their personal and professional lives. So that's a given. Our goal with this particular application of it is to facilitate a life-changing experience that shifts participants' perspectives, their paradigms, and clarifies what we call their use, which is your unique sacred expression. You know, I'm not expecting anybody in the world to dress up the way I do on a stage and dance to Janet Jackson. It ain't going to work for you, right? Or wear a kilt and do the daft things that I do. But that authenticity seems to spark the fire within a lot of people to say, hang on, I want to express myself. And what we are saying is the people that are looking to love, care, and support you need to see the real you. So we're going to facilitate that understanding of what your unique sacred expression is. We're going to introduce them to practices, and that's the key word here: practice, 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 that will inspire, encourage, and empower them on their journey through life, and to help them embrace it as a joyful, rewarding, and fulfilling journey that empowers them to live their best and happiest life every day, come what may. And again, I'm 63 in a few weeks' time. I had a shock 3 years ago when I was close to having a major heart surgery. I've lost 2 or 3 people in the last 2 years, friends, school friends, who dropped dead with heart attacks. This is heart attack alley, 60, 61, 62 if you're a guy in Scotland. So every day, come what may, right? How do you love that day? And that's what we can explore and dig into. Ferial, you want to take the next bit, right?
Yeah, so the format that we provide this in, because that might be in your mind. So there's various different formats we can provide SRG journeys in, all the way from 90 minutes through to, months and even up to a year. But this particular one we do across 16 sessions. It's a journey where we discover how to love learning together and practicing SRGing together. It's working on online, offline, and also just on our own together with others, depending on our geographical situations, and embracing new approaches and technology. It's also really about that kind of opening yourself up to those new experiences, new things that haven't been in your sphere of consciousness before. It's really opening that up. And our target audience here, like Nate said earlier, everyone, basically it's individuals who want to fully embrace who they are. Now, I listened to something Daryl said early on. He said, when we're in these boardrooms, we're CEOs and running these organizations, we have to put on these masks. And the thing is, we forget that we are just humans. It's one of the reasons I don't apologize. I show up as I am, because the point is I want to be loved for who I am. And that's unfortunately what happens in many of these situations, that inauthenticity, it doesn't allow others to be authentic towards you. And this is really what we try to look at in this, is how as individuals, how can we express ourselves authentically in the scenario that we are, obviously still professionally and all of that, but that authentism is so important. And how do we live our best lives and happiest lives? And why is this important? To us, this is important because when you design, so we've got lots of stats for this. We've got lots of, background research we've done into this. And if you want some of that information, we can provide it for you. We don't have time to share that right now. But basically, humans who design from their own happy place, they design very, very differently to those who design from an unhappy space. And if you think about it, the reason why we need happy humans, we need happy leaders, we need happy LCE co-founders. Because when we truly have our own happy lives, what we design into the world, the frequency we carry, because that is what we put out. We don't put out just we put out the frequency we carry, and that is everything we design carries that frequency. And so this is why Andy and I are all about how to have your own happy life. It isn't about being selfish. In actual fact, it's about doing the best thing that you can do. So with that sneeze, bless you, bro. I will quickly get Andy to tell us about how he skied. That's actually Andy skiing down a thing of rocks. So Andy, take it away.
Yeah, so there is no good reason that anybody would want to go to a mountain literally a mountain made up of rubble from a coal mine, and wear a suit and go and ski down it. Other than the fact that I'd been walking or running past this big thing for years and thinking, I think I could get an interesting picture skiing down that in a suit, and it got me on to one of the most prestigious ski magazines in the world, and got me a talking point. But the thing about it is that in hindsight, you've got to be, one, really stupid, two, really brave, and three, really know what you're doing to go and ski down a mountain of rocks. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. It's highly dangerous and really stupid. But it's a lot easier to go and learn to ski on snow. And so one of the key things that I try and emphasize is that if you've got something that you can do well and you love doing it, try and find an environment that actually is supportive of doing it. Don't pick the hardest place to do it in unless you want to really take a high risk strategy. And so building the SRG community, we're actually trying to build a community where you can expose yourself safely to who you are and allow yourself, Daryl, to actually come out, as it were. And nobody's going to ridicule you because everybody's going through the same experience. We're all exposing ourselves together, our vulnerabilities, our weaknesses, our fears, all of the things that we actually want to hide from the world because we think they'll make us unattractive are actually the things that work for us. Because again, part of what we go into is about our trickle nature, about the fact that we've evolved as a species to actually want to care for one another. Our whole species is built upon, the whole thing that got us to where we got to is the fact that we want to love and care for each other. Otherwise, we don't have villages. Otherwise, we can't raise kids. Otherwise, we don't make any progress. So SRG Journeys is not about going to the hardest place that you can find with the biggest risk. It's about coming into a space with a community of people who are willing to expose themselves and share all of those learnings that we need, and to feel loved and supported as they do it.
A few weeks ago, in a meeting with Nate Whitestone and some others from the Control Ship Network, and Sonic, I was in tears because Nate said, well, I watch Ferial in Living Cities Earth, and what she's doing there, and he was just full of praise. And he also did say, I met Ferial in other spaces, and she was overwhelming. She was, it's like she was like a fire hose, I guess I've been described as. And this is the thing about finding that space, right? So in Living Cities Earth, the reason why Nate could say that, and I had tears in my eyes because I had found where I could truly flourish. And it was a journey there, and I kept keeping heart, let's put it that way. And part of what we want to deliver in SRG Journeys is allowing people to kind of give them that staying power in the process, because there will be a moment that it just clicks, that you find that right community, that right space that's totally for you. And I mean, you guys see how I flourish here and the stuff I do because it's totally me. So it took me a while. It took me 50 years, but here I am. And so this is the point that we're trying to make, giving that hope of, don't you worry, there will be that moment that you're completely in your absolute bliss. So with that said, how can LCE support what we're doing? Well, sign up and join in. we're starting one in the beginning of April. So that'd be really great. We've taken quite a few groups through, and overwhelmingly everybody has said it's absolutely changed their lives. And so this was really great feedback for us. You could also become a practitioner, because we're going to be employing SRG technology into a lot of the flagship programs in in Living Cities Earth and other things. And so if you want to be a facilitator, we're particularly looking for seasoned facilitators, because it really does take a certain kind of facilitator to do this really, really well. And then design and develop your own SRG journey. So this is also a technology, so we can apply it in any context that you want. Literally any situation, we're able to kind of fit it to that, because this is the paradigm shift of it all. It's not a specific way of doing it. And of course, so we extend that to you. I need to finish off. So
just jump through to the next one.
Okay, great.
Yeah, that one. So our proposition, why it's called SRG Journeys, is life's a journey. It appears both linear and non-linear, but we're saying, look, on this journey, walk your path with grace. That's the thing. The people that heard me talking about Ferial earlier, when Ferial and I met, we could have had a very ungraceful first meeting, instead of which we actually showed each other grace, and we've got this lifelong friendship now. The next slide is how to absolutely love your life. Be the light you want to see in the world. The world's waiting for you. The world, honest to God, wants to see the best you at your best, completely excited and engaged by your life. And we see so many people that want to change the world get burned out and frustrated because they're trying to help everybody else, rather than come from that space of love and energy for themselves, and recognizing that if Gaia has created us, then she wants us to be a beautiful thing, not shriveled up, not constrained, but actually alive. So the final slide then, I think, for us is let's enjoy the journey together instead of dreaming of a happy ever after. So let's just take this moment and the next moment and just enjoy it, because none of us know what's ahead of us. Last words, Ferial?
Well, the last words would be exactly that. Like, it really was for me, like all the time, SRG, every time I get to facilitate it, it kicks my own butt, right? So hard. But at the same time, it's so wonderful because, I now go to places. I've told the story before. People would just walk up to me and say, can we just hug you? Like, I don't know these people. I don't know. There's like something about you. And honestly, I'm going to accredit that to SRG Journeys, that it was that understanding for me of truly just falling in love with everything and everyone around me. And I truly live that now. And as I said, it's been such a process, but it was SRG Journeys and engaging with and trying to share that. And I had to be authentic. I couldn't just share it being a hypocrite. I had to actually live it. And the same way with Andy. And it's just been the most incredible friendship relationship that evolved out of this, where there is such trust. Andy challenges me more than anybody else I know. But you know what? Andy never hurts me. And that's the thing. It's like we learned to human wow through this whole process. And so that's actually what SRG Journeys is. How do we do that? How do we love life and human wow and just be fully alive ourselves? Thank you very much for listening. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.